Okay, exploring adjustments. We download the file and we're going to apply different adjustments to it. Again, it's an exploration, so you know what's available in the program. Reminder, right click on the document, open it in a new tab, and then it comes up with a download arrow. It's just a little more streamlined. Okay, so you can see it here, but don't just click on it because it's not a Photoshop format. So if you just click to open, it's going to open in preview. You want to open it in Photoshop. So let's open Photoshop. Well, it doesn't automatically appear like just now. You would see the main screen when you open Photoshop. You'd go to File, Open, and it goes into your downloads. When you download a file, just click the file, click on open, and there we go. Okay, let me close one. We don't need them both. Before ever editing a photo, always duplicate the original layer. So we're in layers, right click and duplicate. Okay, you don't need to bother renaming it for this. Now, we're going to do non-destructive editing first by applying adjustments through what are called layer adjustments as opposed to image adjustments. So the non-destructive way to add adjustments or make adjustments to the photo would be layer, new adjustment layer, and all of these different options allow you to edit this photo in particular ways of light and color. So let's just do brightness and contrast to start. It automatically, when it says new layer, gives you the name of the adjustment you're applying. So click OK. When you do that, you should notice Properties has appeared. Now, I'm going to click and drag it out. And although it is covering my photo slightly, maybe I can shrink this panel up so it's not so intrusive. Oh, it's a big one. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it up like so and bring it down here so it's not so intrusive. Now, when I added that adjustment layer, look what happened. It's a layer above the picture. This is non-destructive editing. The editing we're doing to the picture is actually on a separate layer that we can turn on and off at will. Now, we haven't made any changes to that yet because we have to come to Properties, look at the sliders, and here's your brightness slider. And you could make it more bright, less bright, depends on what you're trying to create, what feel or emotion or what you're going to use the photo for. You also have the contrast. That's pretty intense. I like that. But anyhow, you're just exploring these options. Now, we're going to add another. But before you add another, turn this one off so you can be back looking at the original image. It doesn't mean you can't layer different adjustment layers and have them all turned on and create different effects. You can, but for this exploration, set a adjustment layer and then turn it off. So we're looking at the original again. So back to layer, new adjustment layer. And there's a lot to choose from, but what I want you to notice is you can get to adjustment layers at the bottom of your layer panel here, this little circle. If you click, you're going to see the options in here as well. This time, why don't we pick, we did brightness and contrast, let's do hue and saturation. Now, when I clicked on hue and saturation, it added the adjustment layer and new options appeared in my property panel. Hue is another word for color, so you can make changes to the color. Saturation, how much color? That's very surreal looking. The colors are non-realistic, but that might work for whatever you're doing. Or we can desaturate, take all the color out, so it becomes black and white. So, oh, and then of course lightness. All the way up, all the way down. All of these sliders settings would depend on what you're trying to do with your particular photo at the time. So for now, you're literally just experimenting. So I would like to see at least 4 or 5 of these adjustment layers. And again, we turn it off and go back to layer and adjustment, and you'd pick another. Oh, posterize is always fun as well, but I won't do another adjustment layer. This is the non-destructive editing. I would also like you to do at least one if not 2, regular adjustments. And to do that, you have to always work on a duplicate of your original. So we're selecting the duplicate original. And this time, instead of going to layer new, we're going to image adjustments. Now, you're going to notice the options are the same. But look at what the difference is this time. Let's do posterize now. Okay, so in this case, a different window opened. They're not just using the properties, but the same idea. You've got the slider. The higher the levels, the more your image is going to look like the original. Your pixels aren't being grouped into sections. So you see here, we're getting less and less colors. So you're starting to see the colors being blocked in instead of individual pictures, nice seamless transitions of color. And as the levels number goes down, we start to posterize. It is, anyhow, the effect you want is going to depend on how you set it. And I'm going to click OK. We did not get a new layer here. That is because we simply went straight to images. We image, adjustment, and applied an adjustment. Whereas in the past, we were doing adjustment layers. That's the difference. Regular adjustments apply to an image layer itself, and adjustment layers are the non-destructive. They don't actually change the photo at all. They simply apply the effects on their own layer, or the adjustments on their own layer, and when on, they look like they've changed the image, but they didn't physically change it. Once you have 4 or 5 adjustment layers, and once you have 1 or 2 of the regular image adjustments, save your file, save as, and make sure you're always using the Photoshop format, and then submit.